Hello everyone, it's Kathy Champion and you're back with me here at my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. As many of you know, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm located in North Carolina. And thank you so much for stopping in, spending a little time with me. I'm hoping that I can teach you a couple of new tricks, introduce you to some new products that you may have never seen before. And if you're a first-time viewer of my channel, thank you so much. Please take the time to hit that subscribe button, and that way you can ring the bell and set up how you want to receive notifications. That way you will not miss a video every time that I put one up. So again, if you shop in my store and use my host code, which you should see drop in about here, that host code will notify me that you have made a purchase, and it will also let me know that your purchase was $50 or more. Please use that host code no matter what size your purchase is, but if you make a purchase of $50 or more, you will receive a free gift from me at the end of the month. I always go back in, I check all the orders, and I send out a free gift along with a handmade card that I had personally made as a thank you gift for shopping with me. Also, coming up in starting August 3rd, our new catalog will launch and our Sale-a-Bration. Anyone that's not familiar with Sale-a-Bration, for every $50 that you purchase, you can choose a free item out of the Sale-a-Bration brochure. So also, if you have not received a catalog or you haven't shopped with me in the last year, then you were not on the mailing for a catalog, or either you didn't request the new mini catalog. But send me a request. My email address is located in the description below, and I will make sure that you get a catalog and a Sale-a-Bration brochure. Okay, with all of that out of our way, I want to show you what I had in mind for today. I was playing around and I was using, not this one, that was one that we're going to bring in a little bit later, but the Shaded Summer stamp set, and this is in our annual catalog. But the Sale-a-Bration item, you can get the dies that go with this. It's a two-tier, which means it's a $100 purchase. You can get this free die set, which is absolutely amazing that I had not seen Stampin' Up! Give away dies since I've been in. Normally it's stamp sets and paper and things like that, but never a die set. But they've got a couple of die sets this year. The Counting Sheep, which is a stamp set, and a die set, which is fantastic. But anyway, I was playing around just with this stamp set and just thinking, well, you know, it'd be nice to make some cards. Maybe I'll make a little gift set. And as I was doing this, I thought, why not do a video and bring y'all along? Because, I mean, these are such cute cards, and I thought, let's make a set of these, and it would make a wonderful gift. And I'm going to show you how we're going to decorate a box to put them in and everything. But let's go ahead and work on the cards. I'm going to move everything over out of my way. I did bring in 3 embossing folders, Pretty Flowers, Tasteful Textile, and Ornate Floral. All of these will work well in these particular items that I've got in mind to work with. So I'm going to move everything over and kind of out of my way so that we can work toward making our beautiful cards. Now, I did bring in some colored cardstock. I have a Highland Heather, a Polished Pink, and a Misty Moonlight. And of course I did the Bermuda Bay. Let's bring in another sheet. Let's do I was thinking like the Calypso Coral would be very pretty. Yeah, let's do a Calypso Coral. Because what I want to do is I want to make sure that there's a scrap I think we can use. And I always love using up scraps anytime that I can. Let's also bring in a Daffodil Delight. I think that would be really pretty doing the floral. There we go. All right, I think we're good and ready to roll with these. I also have some small pieces cut and I need to cut a couple more. These are like flashcards, and I don't know if anyone has watched Connie Stewart, but she works with these flashcards quite a bit. The larger piece is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, and we need to cut some white ones. I thought I had some cut down. I don't, maybe I used them all. No, here we go. I thought I had some more. These are cut at 2 1/2 by 4, and they actually mount on our black perfectly, just like that. So we're going to work with those, and I got 2 of these already cut. So let's do 2 more like that. And I've got some card bases cut, and I'm working with just basic black and the basic white. Now this is the thick basic white, and then just our standard black. So this time I think I'm going to work with a black. So I'm going to need to flip this and do a white and then a black. So let's take our black cardstock out. And I'm going to grab some, this is a good way to use up scraps. So I'm going to grab some white scraps. This piece will work really well. And what we're going to do is go ahead and cut the larger one. This is going to be the 4. Let's see, the best way to cut this would be 2 3/4. So 2 3/4. So we're going to cut that off right there. And cut it by 4 1/4. Okay, that gives us a large one. Then we need some black. And I'm just going to grab a scrap for that and see if we can get it out of the scrap. And it's going to be 2 1/2. So let's try this at 2 1/2. That looks good. And like I said, this is a great way to grab those scraps out of your scrap bin and cut them down and make them useful pieces. And this is going to be by 4. Alright, now I think that's going to be very pretty, and we're going to stamp one of the flowers in the white. So here is our stamp. We have it already loaded up on a stamp block, and I want to decide what color I want to put behind this piece. So I think I am going to do the polished pink. I think the pink and the black and the white will be very pretty together. And that's all you need to do is just kind of look at your colors, decide what color combination you want to use, and then, you know, work it out. So I'm going to cut this down to 4. And then we're going to cut this to 5. No, 5 1/4. So that gives us our front base, and now because I'm using this as my main color, or my colorful color, I call the black and white my base colors. So we can lay this on here. Then we can put that white piece right here and the black. And now we need to stamp our flower in that beautiful pink. So I'm going to grab the polished pink. And my piece of, make sure this is going to fit on here, and yep, that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And then we're just going to stamp it. And I'm going to stamp up to the top because I think I can get one more flower out of this. So I'm giving it a good press. Just let that ink transfer. Very, very pretty. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to leave that ink out because I know we're going to want to do a sentiment. So let's get the die. And these dies are so nice because it cuts out about 3 or 4 of the pieces from the stamp set, and then it also cuts these other individual flowers that you could use. And we will be working with all of that because I want to show you all the aspects of that die set, and encourage you to, everybody's going to be wanting to buy some of the beautiful holiday items, so why not take advantage of Sale-a-Bration and get something free in the process. And Sale-a-Bration is something that Stampin' Up! Does. Usually it was once a year, but this year they decided to do 2 Sale-a-Bration campaigns. One on the launch of the spring catalog, which comes out in January, and then the launch of the holiday catalog, which is premiering next week. So everybody be on the lookout, because when that catalog goes live on August the 3rd, it is going to be a madhouse with people shopping and trying to get their orders in. And I think some of the Sale-a-Bration items are only available while supplies last. So if you have your eye on something, grab it while it's available. Okay, there's our beautiful flower. Isn't that pretty? It's so delicate, and it is going to play so well on here. Look how pretty that is. And I love the coordination. I'm going to zoom y'all in just a little bit more. I love the coordination of the stamps and the dies and the way everything kind of works together. And I'm going to clean my stamp just a teeny bit. And I'm just using the Simply Chamois with some water on it. You just wet this under the tap or use a spray bottle to wet it. And that clean, it does a nice little temporary clean on your stamps. Of course, when you want to do a thorough clean, you need to pick up a Stampin' Scrub, and I'll be showing that later in another video. So I want to do one other thing, and I want to do a label to put my sentiment on. And I'm trying to decide which way I want to do this. Let's go ahead and put this together first. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal for this, and I'm just going to turn this over and put a little bit of my seal. I didn't take a lot of this because it's very strong. This is one of the best, and this is the Stampin' Seal Plus. It's my favorite. So we're just going to lay this in, just like so, and press it down. And then we're ready to, let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of this. And I have dimensionals right here. Here they are. So I'm just going to put one up here on that larger flower. And I'm going to put probably about 4 or 5 on here, just to make sure that it stays in place. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pull these off with. That's my favorite way to lift up these backers. I like it because I can kind of get them all in one spot, all together, and then put them in the trash all at one time. That's always a plus, because that way you don't have them all over the house and all over your craft room and and everywhere else. I'm going to bring that up just a little bit because I want to put a banner or something across the bottom there and put my my sentiment on. So I'm going to use some more Stampin' Seal. And I like you, now don't get me wrong, I love to use my liquid glue, but this, you don't have to wait for it to dry. It's an instant seal, and it just works really well. Get that about even, like so. So now we have got a place right here where we can do a little oval, or you could actually just cut a straight piece, but I think I want to grab, I love this double oval, and I think I'm going to try the large one. Let's see if that's going to fit right here. And it does, and that looks really pretty. So we can stamp a sentiment right there. And this one, I think I'm going to do, let's do happy birthday on this one. Let's see if the happy birthday will fit. Yep, that's going to work. So I'm going to grab a stamp block. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm using my grid. I'm going to line it up and then pick it up where it's nice and straight. And then I'm going to grab my ink and ink that up. And we're going to come down right in the middle and stamp. So now that's ready, and this I am going to glue flat down. That way it will show that the flower is kind of popped up a little bit more. And let's see if we can tuck it right up under the edge of that. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? Now we're ready to put this on the front of our card. So I am going to just use a little liquid glue for this. And then you just want to make sure that you're getting that. Now we could have run that pink through one of the embossing folders, but I didn't. But if you wanted to add a little bit more of, you know, a little something extra to your card, you could do that. But we're going to make a bow, and I'm going to use the new In Color ribbon. It comes in all 5 shades of our new In Colors. And here is the polished pink. And this is so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous ribbon? So I'm going to leave it on the roll, and I'm just going to tie a simple, very simple little bow. We could just do a knot bow on this, but you know what? I think these bows are so pretty. I'm going to make it a lot bigger than what I need it to be, and then we're going to pull it down. It's just easier to work with the loops when they're larger. And we're going to tuck that under, pull it through that loop right there. Give it a good pull and see how big your loops are, but we're going to play with that and get them adjusted to where we need it. And if you turn it over, the back side when you do a bow like this is actually your front. So again, we're just going to pull the loops. And when you get it about where you want it, then you can really tighten those loops down. Just make sure your loops are smaller than what you want your actual bow to be, because once you pull it, it's going to get bigger. And then we can take our scissors and go ahead and cut your little edges, and then this bow is ready to go down onto our card. And we're going to use a mini glue dot. I close my ink up before I stick my hand in it. So then we're going to take one of these mini glue dots and just stick it. I'm going to stick it right here on the stem of that the flower, because that's exactly where I want my bow to go. I might need to trim that just a little bit more, but that's okay. We can do that after we get our bow in place. Yeah, this tail here definitely needs to be a little bit shorter. Just like that. And then there is that card. Now you can embellish it if you like. You could put some of these matte black dots on it. I think I want to do something a little more sparkly. So I am going to grab, I think I'm going to grab a pack of these. This is the 2021-2023 in color jewels, and they are absolutely gorgeous. And the pack has all of the colors, the 5 new colors. Well, they're not so new anymore because this came out in May, so we are almost in August, so I don't think I can call them new anymore, but they are beautiful. They are the newest. And you've got that polished pink, you've got the pale papaya, the evening evergreen, the fresh freesia, and the soft succulent, and they're all beautiful. So I'm going to use some of the pink, the polished pink, since that's what we're using here. And I'm going to put probably about 3 on here. And isn't that gorgeous? So we have another card made. So now we have 4 cards like this. So I think the next cards we're going to make, I'm going to use a different stamp set, and we're going to do something a little bit different. So I think what we're going to do now, we're going to work with this other stamp set, and that one is called Biggest Wish. And this is such a nice stamp set because you've got the same words both in the bold and in a script. So the bold print and a lighter sort of a real pretty little font type. I think this is going to work well with what I've got in mind. So again, I'm going to bring over a card base, and this time I think I'm going to work with the black, and let's do, I need a white front on there. So I'm going to grab a scrap again. And I'm going to cut this down for card base or a card mat. And I think this one I'm going to do it at 4 1/8. If you do 4 1/8 instead of 4, it gives you a tinier border. And instead of doing 5 1/4, I'm going to do 5 3/8. So 1, 2, 3/8. And all this is going to allow us to do is have just a tiny bit of the color peeking out. So I think that sometimes is very attractive on our cards. All right, let me decide now. I want to put a piece of designer series paper on the bottom of this. So I'm going into my hand pinned. The hand pinned is so pretty, and we can play up some of those new colors, the soft succulent. So what I'm going to do is, I think I want a piece of that solid as well. That would be pretty across there. You know, and again, I'm using scraps, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. Go in and grab scraps and, you know, make it work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of this off. Let's see. We've got the right width. So the width is 4 inches, and we're going to cut this at 2. So this is going to be 2 by 4. And then I'm going to cut this piece at 4 because I want it to go across that card. But we're going to make it a small strip, and it's the back side of this piece, which usually lets you know that they're going to coordinate well. And I'm going to cut this down to a 1/2 inch. So now we have that 1/2 inch where we can just make a little bit of a definition between the two. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down my cardstock, and again it's going to be just ever so slight border around the edge of this. So let's just go ahead and glue this on. Make sure when you're using designer series paper that you're very conscious of the direction of your print, because if it is directional, you don't want your flowers looking like they're growing upside down. and so that's always something you're going to watch out for. Now this piece is just going to act as a separation piece between our two, and I'm thinking I might bring it up a little bit higher and butt it right against that. That will make it real easy to put down. So I am just going to run a bead of glue right along there, just like that, and then I'm going to sit this right against the edge of that paper. You can feel the lip, and then just push it over to make it even. And there is that. Now we need to stamp, so I'm going to grab my Macron, and since I'm using photopolymer stamps, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Pierce Matte, and for this one I think I want it to say let's do happy. I think we can do happy birthday on this one. So let's do the thick happy. Or do I want to do birthday? I think I want to do birthday in the bold. Let's see if that'll work. Let's put birthday right here in the Macron. Or maybe right there in the middle. That looks good. And I am going to grab a stamp block. Well, this yeah, I think that one will work. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp off on a piece of grid paper before I actually commit this to my card. And just to make sure that we're getting a good solid stamp. Sometimes when you're dealing with a brand new stamp, it's kind of good to use it and maybe even clean it a little bit before you actually use the stamp. So I think that's good. All right, I'm going to move that grid paper out of our way. I'm going to bring this over. Ink it up really good, and then we are going to commit right about here, down just a little bit because we want to put the happy up there. And I'm just going to hold that and make sure that all of that ink transfers to my paper, giving it some nice gentle pressure. And I love it. That turned out really pretty. And I want to come back in with the happy, and we're going to do something a little different with that. We are going to stamp happy. Oh, that's not it. That's friend. There's happy. We are going to stamp that where it's coming down, like it's almost on top of the birthday. And I'm going to clean this really quick. Just a real little quick wipe just to get any residue of ink off. And then I'm going to pick this one up. And we're going to do this in the black. Just for a little extra emphasis, something a little bit different. And like I said, we're going to make sure I'm getting a good image on this. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to bring that over to the side and down just a hair. Just like that. And isn't that cute? Something a little different, but you know, we're always looking for something that's just a tiny bit different. And I'm going to use the, let's see if we got some mint macaron. I think this one will work. Very pretty. And let's cover that ink up. And I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of this ribbon, and we're going to adhere it on the back. And how I want to do that, so I'm going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal. If you notice, I'm holding my finger right where that strip of paper is, because I know that's the position that I want to put my ribbon in. So I'm going to put a piece there, and then I want to do the same thing here, just to kind of get a feel of where it's at. And I'm going to pull an amount of ribbon off. And what I want to do is make sure before I put it down that I've got enough. And I think that'll work. Now I'm going to just lay this back here into that adhesive. I know it's there and there. Like that. And then bring it around to the front. And you want to make sure you have enough of ribbon so you can tie a little bow. And then I'm just going to tie a square knot bow. So I'm going to hold that. And if you have difficulty holding your bow, I'm going to show you a way that you can use your reverse tweezers. And these are just a pair from my Cricut. And I just let that be my extra hand. And then I'm going to tie this into a small bow. Just like that. Then you can let that go. And then you can adjust your loops. And once you get that like you want it, you can slide a glue dot up underneath it just to hold that bow in place so it doesn't, you know, move around on you. So I really like that, and I like the tails about the length they are, so I don't think we need to, I might trim this one just a little bit. But that worked out really well, and I love that. So I'm going to grab a glue dot. So here is my glue dots. These are little mini glue dots, and they absolutely are wonderful for putting down any type of embellishments onto your cards. And then that will hold that in place. Nothing's going to move. And we're ready to put this onto our card base. And this card is so simple, we don't need to do anything else to it but maybe some gems on it. So I'm going to use the Stampin' Seal Plus. And I am going to put it over top of the ribbon back here, just to make sure that that sticks over top and nothing comes loose. And bring my card base back. And now I know that I've got just that 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I'm very cautious of where that's at. And look how pretty that card turned out. Now we want to put some gems on it. And I think for this one, I'm going to grab, ooh, I like those. Oh, those are beautiful. thought I had a pack of those open, but it looks like I have opened these. Again, I haven't opened these up on the side like I like to do it. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut right along that plastic, just like that. And then we can pull these out to use them so much easier. And you can actually just turn them sideways and be able to access all of them that way. Just makes it so much easier. So I'm going to put one of those green ones right there, and another one up here, and maybe one, maybe right there. And that's all I'm going to do to that card. Isn't that pretty? Now we will need to put something on the inside, and I think for this one I'm just going to cut a piece of white cardstock, and we'll stick that inside, glue it down, and this one can be a handwritten message to the recipient. So we will cut this down. And our standard card mat is going to be a 4 by 5.5. I mean 5 1/4, I'm sorry. 4 by 5 1/4. So funny, you say things and then when they come out, your brain kind of regroups and you think, wait a minute, I did not say that right. So, okay, so this is going to give us our inside card base. So again, I'm just going to glue it down. And you know, if you wanted to come back later and stamp a sentiment in it, if you decided that you wanted to do that, by leaving it blank, it gives you the opportunity to say something inside what you would want it to say. So that's always a good rule of thumb. So there we go. That's another card done in our little card series. So now the next one that I want to do, we're going to use a white card base. And I think for this one I want to go in and pull a very pretty I'm thinking, oh yeah, let's do a piece of this. Isn't that gorgeous? And I think what I want to do is I really want to play up the Misty Moonlight in this. So we are going to cut this piece. Let me see if I had a piece like that with it that was a scrap. I think I do. No, maybe not. Not that particular one. Okay, we're going to cut it. You know, sometimes we have a hard time cutting our paper because it's so pretty. But you know, hoarding the paper and not using it is just not a good thing to do. Cut that paper up so you can use it. So we're going to cut this at 4. Yeah, I'm going to cut it at 4. I'm rethinking because I want to put down the Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4. And while I have my trimmer out, I'm going to cut the Misty Moonlight down to 4 1/8. By 5 3/8. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, when I do 8s, I have to count. Let me zoom y'all back out a little bit. And what this is going to give us, it gives us where we can mat this on top with that tiny bit of a border. Isn't that pretty like that? Just barely seeing that Misty Moonlight peek out around the sides, but yet it frames it so when you put it on the white card base, your paper doesn't get lost. I love that. And we're going to use something in the middle. We're going to use a punch. Oh, I know exactly what we're going to use. we are going to use our dies. These are the Tailor made dies, and they make beautiful, beautiful tags. And how pretty would it be to do 2 of these? I think I'm going to go with the smaller one. Yep. The second to the largest, and I'm using the one that's rounded. And we're going to cut 2 of these out. I'm going to do one in Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to do one in Daffodil Delight. And how pretty is that going to look on that? So I'm going to go ahead and get these cut. Alright, I'm back. I went ahead and cut both of these out. One Daffodil Delight, one Misty Moonlight. But I felt like I needed something to kind of anchor these two. So I cut 2 strips out of the same color, and I just used the scraps from this. And these are, one is 1 inch by 3 7/8, and the other one is 3 7/8 by I think this one is 3/4. Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. So all I want to do is just kind of line them up like so, and line them up on the card like this. I think that will just give us something to kind of anchor this to. So let's go ahead and put the card front together. So here we go. The first thing I want to do is decide how I want this to go down. And I think I want the yellow, and I want to give myself about 1/2 inch of the pattern paper to show. So I'm going to lay this on my mat. You could measure it and mark it if you wanted to, or use your grid paper or your mat, whatever you have that you use in your craft room. But I'm going to use liquid glue for this. I'm going to use my regular liquid glue and put that down right about here. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take the blue one and just lay over it like that. So this one I'm just going to eyeball. And lay it down right about there. And press it down. Now I'm ready to decide what I want to put on my little tags. So I think on this one I am going to use, how about Hello Friend? So I'm going to do the big hello right about there. And I think for this one I'm going to stamp the hello, and I might do both of these in black. I haven't really decided, but I had a little fuzzy or something on my glue. I saw it and it was driving me crazy. Maybe I got that off. So I'm going to do hello, and let me get my Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to bring that up kind of close to the top of that, and just get it centered in between those stitch marks. And I am going to use this stamp block. And I do think I'm going to do black, because I'm afraid if I use colored ink on that, it's going to change the color of it. If I use the blue on yellow, it's going to give it a green look, and I don't want that. So I think for those reasons, I am going to stick with black. That did not stamp well. I might have to cut another yellow one. I I went to bed last night, and when I came in here this morning, I noticed that my my black ink was had been left a little bit cracked open. Never a good thing, because that's just not a good thing. So I'm going to just re-ink this really quick, hoping that that'll take care of that little issue I had. There we go. And I'm going to let that sit for a little bit while I cut another piece. So let me grab my yellow. Again, I'm sure I've got a scrap. And like I said, this is such a perfect card to use your scraps up on. And there we go. So I'm going to put that over that so I don't make a mess with it. And I'm going to grab this little framelit, and we are going to run it through. Now when you're running these through, you want to turn your paper a little bit at an angle. You never want to go through your die cut with a long straight edge, because it will make it crack. You'll hear this horrible cracking, but if you go in at an angle, it will do well every time. Just a little bit of an angle makes all the difference, and you don't get that loud pop by doing it that way. Just a much better way of doing your labels or anything that has that type of anything with a straight edge. All right, let's try that one more time. So I'm going to get my hello. I'm going to try inking it again. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stamp on this back side. I would have used the back side of this, but the back side of a die cut never has a good texture to it. Plus your stitch marks are a little bit different. Still looks like it's pooling. Yep, it's still not getting a good... All right, I'm going to clean my stamp. All right, let's see if we can get a better stamp on it this time. All right, we're going to try it. Yeah, see what I mean? How it looks? Are you seeing that? It looks like it's bubbly. And I heard one person said that comes from humidity, and I am in the South, and it is very humid. Our humidity levels have been awful. So I'm going to hold that there just for a minute and see if that ink will transfer. That's a little bit better than what it had been. So we'll go with that. One thing you can do if you need to, you could take a marker, like one of our Stampin' Right markers, and you could go in and fill that in, but you got to have a very steady hand to do that. You could also use one of our Stampin' Blends in the black, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is a dark basic black, and I am going to grab my glasses for this, my bifocals, and what you can do is just come in and fill that in a little bit, just where it's light. That's just another way to fix if you have stamping issues. And sometimes you just need a little bit to make it look better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Let's do a little bit on that E. And a little bit down to hello. Not too bad, not too shabby. Okay, we'll go with that. So now I want it to say hello friend. So let's grab friend out of here. And I want the friend to kind of overlap. And maybe I will do that in a color. I'm going to try it. Let's try it in... Let's try it in the Misty Moonlight. What have we got to lose? Since this video is going to be going over, what I might do is do this in 2 parts. Let's do friend like this. Hello, friend. I don't know if I like that Misty Moonlight on there like that because it doesn't look like it's... Of course, as it dries, it will lighten. So we're going to put these together like this. And we're going to tie some ribbon on them. So I need to decide what color. I really would love the Misty Moonlight. So let's look and see. This is Misty Moonlight. So let's get a little piece of this, and I am going to use my Take Your Pick tool. This thing comes in handy for everything. And I'm just going to push that through. And I'm going to cut a piece about yay long. And all I want to do is tie a square knot. Just like that. Let me close up my Momento ink because it's sitting right here where I could definitely put my left hand right in it, or arm. So now I'm going to tie, or try to tie, a little bow. Again, I'm pulling my loops down small so that I can have the opportunity to pull them, to tighten them. And see how tiny I'm getting them? And then I'm just going to come in and pull, and that tightens everything up. And then I'm going to hold my bow and pull those tails so they come out this way. And then I'm going to snip and snip. And now we're going to put a glue dot to hold this in place because I want these to kind of be swung out like that. And they're going to go on the card like this. So, you know what? I'm not going to use a glue dot. I'm just going to use some liquid glue. And I'm going to run a little bit of glue right under here. Just like that. Just like that. And then put that down on here like that. And I think I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. So here's my dimensionals. So I'm going to put one right there, one there, maybe one right there in the middle, and then one on each corner, just to hold it very secure. Go ahead and pull these off. that's going to go down just like this. And then we're going to put this on here, and I'm going to use liquid glue. And remember, we just have that tiny little bit of a border, so be very careful with putting that down to make sure you have just a little bit of that peeking out all the way around. Isn't that a cute card? I love that. I love these tags for embellishments. Now we're going to put the whole thing down onto our white card base, and again, we're going to have just a tiny bit of that white peeking out. Now you could have made this a Misty Moonlight card base and probably skipped the white, but I like the layers. There's something for me that a layered card just, I don't know, it makes me happy. So now with this one, we can put a another piece of white, or you could do a Misty Moonlight and a white. I'm going to leave that as is, and let's count our cards and see what we got. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 cards, and I think with 6 envelopes, this is going to make a nice packet of cards. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video out, and when I come back, I do want to do one other thing for this one though. Do we want to put gems on here? I think we do. And I think for this one, I think I'm going to use these basic, these are the in color basic jewels from last year's colors. And again, I'm going to just cut this up. I'm sure I've used some of these, but I just recently realized how much easier it was for me to get my gems in and out of the packet like this, rather than, you know, having to fumble with them so much. So I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to put one of those right there, and maybe one right here on the yellow. And then I'm going to use the Bumblebee because I think it will coordinate good with the yellow. So we're going to put one right there, and maybe one more right about here. And that, now we're done with that card. How pretty is that? So I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. When we come back, what we're going to do, we're going to stack these cards every other card like this. That makes them lay better, and they will fit into our packaging better. And we'll put some envelopes in with them, and then we'll make our little cover for our box. So that'll be coming up in our next video. So I'm going to spread my cards out and let y'all take a peek at what we did and see if y'all love them. I hope that you did. I had so much fun making these. They are just so much fun. And using 2 stamp sets and just some basic layouts. So let me know what you think. I love you guys so much, and until we craft again, may God keep and bless you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. So until we craft again, bye-bye.